One of the most famous verses in the book of Psalms written by King David has such a deep meaning that is so often overlooked. In Psalm 136, everyone in the world knows this verse. Hodu la Hashem ki tov ki le'olam chasto. Give thanks to God, for he is good. His love endures forever. And that's pretty much how it's translated in almost every English Bible. Ki le'olam chasto. His love is eternal. His love endures forever. So ki le'olam chasto is usually translated in that way. But I learned a powerful understanding from one of Tehila's best friends from high school. She was diagnosed with a very aggressive breast cancer, and she had to go through chemotherapy, leaving her husband and her young children in a very hard state of limbo. And I mean, just talk about a prayer machine that was established around this girl. And they extracted her eggs and told her that she was never possibly ever going to be able to have children after chemo. And, it was just a really rough ride. And it was more than 2 years after that, at their child's circumcision, that her husband got up and said the verse, Hodu la Hashem ki tov ki le'olam chasdo. And he explained it in a way that I had never heard before. It says, give thanks to God, for he is good, because his chesed, his loving kindness, can only be seen le'olam, in an expanse of time. In eternity, you actually see his loving kindness. Peering through the keyhole of the present, our vision is just too limited. But le'olam, over time, in expanse, in eternity, in the context of the whole, only with the eyes of le'olam, of expanse, of eternity, can we see his loving kindness. And wow, that message is so real. And that's the message right in time before the book of Exodus, when the Jewish people are about to be enslaved for a couple of hundred years with no end in sight. 200 years of slavery, that's intergenerational slavery, where the great-great-great-grandchildren, they lost the idea of freedom. They are so lost. And it's like, wait, ki le'olam chasto. You're going to need a lot of time to finally see how things unfold. You just need time in your life. You don't always get the answer immediately. You need the le'olam. And the finale, the book of Genesis. It's like the book ends off with the Jewish people in Egypt. It's like, really? That's how we're going to end the book? We're laying the foundations of the whole Bible and we end off in Egypt? Like that's the end of the story of the patriarchs? The story ends off with all of their children lost in the exile, far away from the promise of the land of Israel, on their way to slavery? Like, what kind of ending is that? I mean, Abraham started the journey with a promise to inherit the land and build a kingdom. And the book ends with the people of Israel fleeing the promised land in hunger and settling down in Egypt. Like, what an anticlimactic end. Like, why is that the end of the story? And this is so key. And it's one of the most beautiful ideas and themes you see throughout the whole Bible. Constantly, the Bible is taking us away from the end zone and the victory dance. It's like, we don't know. That's not the way we live. They're always taking us away from the goal of the story. It's like the world is always so focused on results, on the bottom line, on the end zone. And the Torah is like a counter pressure, teaching us, guiding us away from the goal, away from the final destination. It's like the destination and promise that Abraham was given is something beyond his lifetime, beyond his son's lifetime. The destination is like definitionally beyond them. So what do we focus on? We focus on life. Choose life that you may live, because every day is a gift. Every day is an entire creation. The journey of life is where value is. The journey of life is where happiness can be found. Meaning, it's happening right now. And it's like, don't just wait for the top of the mountain. There's a much longer journey to get there than a little celebration at the top of the mountain. It's like achieving our goal. It's in God's hands anyways, but it's on the way to achieving the goal that life happens. And the quality of our life is determined entirely on the days toward that goal. And the book ends before the finish line. Making it to the promised land ends off in Egypt, because crossing the finish line is not the point. The Torah is guiding us to focus on how we live our lives on the way to the destination. And that is the theme across all of the stories of the Bible. I mean, Moses, the end of the whole book of the whole Torah. It's like Moses and the children of Israel are like at the end zone. They're at the 1 yard line overlooking into to Israel, and they don't ever go in. The whole Torah is about the covenant of the land of Israel and finally fulfilling Abraham's vision. And the Torah ends, sorry, you don't make it. And only in the book of Joshua do they go in. It's like, okay, well, even Joshua, he's told to conquer the land, and he doesn't fully conquer the land. And David is called to build the temple. Well, he buys the Temple Mount, and he gets everything prepared, but he doesn't build the temple. None of our heroes cross the finish line. And it's like, wow, the heroes don't cross the finish line because life is not about the moment you reach the top of the mountain. That moment will come and go. Most of our lives are spent on the journey toward the destination. That's where life happens. That's where the living Torah comes to life. And that's where the Torah is telling us to live. It's like on one hand, we have the story of Esau selling his birthright for the present. And so obviously, don't sell your future for the fleeting moment of now. But at the same time, don't sell your life now for some hope of the future that, oh, one day when that happens, then I'll be happy. Oh, and one day when this happens, then I can really live life. It's like every day is a gift. Live it up. Breathe it in. Every day toward our target. Every day towards Zion. Every day toward Jerusalem. Living focused and aligned toward the ultimate good is a gift.
Shalom. My name is Jeremy Gimpel. A few months ago, we started an online seminar teaching life-changing biblical wisdom revealed from the original Hebrew and straight from the mountains of Judea. With global instability on the rise, more and more people are turning to God, realizing now they don't exactly know where to look for guidance. The Bible says the guidance will come from the land of Israel. What started as an online seminar has grown into a global fellowship with hundreds of members from over 30 countries. We're participating in fulfilling prophecy as we learn the Bible through the eyes of prophecy, with a focus on what it's telling about us in our lives today. What you will discover is that the wisdom transmitted thousands of years ago is speaking directly to us in our time right now. Instead of learning the Bible as a religion, it's the Torah of Israel, the living guidance of God. So please join us for our next online gathering and get access to the full library of teachings that the Land of Israel Fellowship is offering. Join now and get an audio series on the prophecy encoded in the book of Joshua, absolutely for free. Just click on the link below or email fellowship@thelandofisrael.com. I don't know how you found this video or what compelled you to click on that link, but I don't believe in coincidence, and I would encourage you to take the next step on your journey toward the Land of Israel. I hope to see you at the Land of Israel Fellowship. Shalom.